I think I got this narrowed down. This is where I'm
if you
in
could go to
between.
one game as a
if I
fan.
could go to one game as a fan, what would it be? It's hard for me not to say Packers at Chiefs. Okay, you knew I was going to pick that, didn't you?
I did.
I mean,
Week 8.
Sunday
night on NBC.
Sunday night
Not
on
that
NBC.
you had to pick NBC, but
no, but it worked out that way. And come on, these are, in my opinion, the two best quarterbacks in football. There's, Ken Mahomes, repeat what he did last year. Just like Dad said, all the questions surrounding Green Bay. But either way, I just think we're going to see some exciting football, big-time plays, everything about it. That would probably be the number one game. But I'll say, in second, I think Pats at Eagles might be another one that I'm looking at. I need to pull up their schedule. I can't remember what week that was.
That is.
But I'll have it here in 2 seconds.
That one.
But come on, that's a Super Bowl rematch from a few years ago. I think both of these teams could possibly be in the Super Bowl again this year.
Yeah.
And the boos that New England is going to hear coming out of the tunnel in Philadelphia is almost going to be worth the price of admission just to be there for that in itself. I mean, so that's cool. And that's for everybody out there, Week 11.
Off a bye.
Yep, they're off a bye. You're right. November 17th, it'll be a 4:25 game. And that one to me is special.
Those are not my favorite.
No?
My favorite?
Yes.
Week 3.
Right.
On NBC. Because I am obligated to pick NBC. You guys aren't, but I am. But no, this really is my number one. Football Night in America.
Yeah.
Rams at Browns.
It's right here. I'm with you. It was going to be one of the next one. I'm pumped for that too.
That one's my favorite.
What? The Browns, the NFC champions coming into town. You're right. It's our first, are the Browns for real?
Yeah.
Can they handle this?
Three of the biggest stars in football with Odell, Baker Mayfield, and Sean McVay.
Yeah.
They really are. That's three of the biggest stars
Aaron
in
Donald,
football.
right. I mean, it is. It's star-studded. So I'm with you there. Chiefs at Pats, come on. And, of course, I like that matchup. That came true to me. Browns at Patriots later in the year, that's another one that I wrote down. I think those are the ones that just appeal to me. I think we're going to see good football, good quarterback play, and a lot of exciting plays that I would be excited to see.
There were some Colts games in there, too, that I looked at, but then I kind of wondered, are we even going to see
Jacoby Brissett?
Jacoby Brissett in there instead of Andrew Luck. And that is a question that came from Unwanted Opinions with Nick and Jay. He asked, or she, how many games do the Colts win without Luck? And so now we're in that weird, nebulous Andrew Luck bubble again.
It's odd.
It feels like that we were in 2017 when it was like, when's he going to come back? When's he going to come back? And then he never came back. So he had a calf strain, and then that pain spread to his ankle. Team still didn't know what was going on. Now they believe they know the source of the pain.
Right.
No surgery necessary, but it seems like he will not play the entire preseason. Yeah. So it's a question mark.
It's scary. It really is. I mean, I don't know what to really believe about the situation right now. And again, the fact that even Chris Ballard yesterday makes comments about, hey, this is why we have a good backup and Jacoby Brissett, and that makes us feel comfortable. Those are just little things I read between the lines that go, ooh, there's a chance it could be Jacoby Brissett week 1. I don't think he would bring that up unless he was totally sold on Andrew Luck being ready for that. So that is a little scary. Andrew Luck, when healthy, is certainly one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. I'll say this, though. Jacoby Brissett is a starting quarterback in the NFL.
You had him in your top 40.
I did, yeah. I think I had him in the top 32.
Yeah.
I had him 31. There we go. So I had him above starters. There's a lot of things to like about his game, let alone this time around. If he does have to start for the Indianapolis Colts, he's going to have practice time and a lot of reps. Last time he got traded from the Patriots, and 8 days later they needed him to start a game. That was tough.
So with Andrew Luck, how many games did they win?
I'm not like Colts going to the Super Bowl. I'm more like Colts are going to be in the playoffs type of guy. I mean, a lot of people are putting them in that conversation. I know there's a lot of people that are going, I think the Colts are on the short list for Super Bowl contenders. I don't say that. I think with Andrew Luck,
10 wins?
10 wins, 10-6, maybe 11-5 if he can pull some magic out. I mean, that's a tough division, the AFC South. We can't forget that. Plus, they're going to have to deal with the NFC South this year, which is another tough division.
Yeah.
And with Jacoby Brissett, I don't think they're going to fall off earth. I mean, 8-8, I really, maybe even 9-7. I do, because it's not like they're going to have to change the structure of their offense just because Jacoby Brissett is not in there. And I think with their coaching, that they'll find ways to, manipulate the offense a little to favor Jacoby Brissett with maybe things he doesn't do as good as Andrew Luck or whatever it may be. But I know I'm going to have to do playoff predictions and Super Bowl predictions here real soon. I haven't hashed it out yet, but I don't think I'm ready to pick the Colts in the Super Bowl conversation
Even with Andrew Luck.
But even with Andrew Luck. But I am certainly willing to talk about them being in the playoffs.
First couple weeks, they're on the road at Chargers week 1, at Titans week 2. Without Andrew Luck, that becomes a whole lot harder, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
Girl Scouts of America.
Girl Scouts, I like that.
How many weeks does Antonio Brown make it without having a meltdown? 0. He's already had the meltdown.
Well, I mean, he's already caused a ruckus. We know that. I mean, he's can't miss TV right now.
But assuming he comes back, which you think he will, week 1 he's playing, at what point in the season would you put the over-under of another meltdown for Antonio Brown?
Well, I think it all comes down to one thing. I don't even know if it matters about wins or losses. I think it's going to come all about targets, catches, stats, things like that. I mean, when we've seen him get frustrated and throw temper tantrums on the sidelines, I mean, it's been some instances where they're winning games and he's mad. Like, he's mad because he didn't get the ball enough.
Yeah.
So John Gruden is very cognizant of that. John Gruden is the ultimate, like, I'm going to design 90 million plays for you and make the defense force their hand to cover you, and we'll see where it goes from there. But every cheap play, every screen play, every short bullshit type completion in the world, I guarantee is going to go to Antonio Brown just to appease that part of the game. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen in the first 3 or 4 weeks, but we get to like week 7.
That's trouble.
They're playing at the Green Bay Packers.
They're going to be fine the first 25% of the season.
Yeah, but then I mean, it's inevitable at some point he's going to go off. I mean, there's no way that's not going to happen. This is just part of his DNA, and I'm not necessarily saying it's always a bad thing. I mean, I'm really not. It's a guy that's an intense guy. He wants to play, wants the ball, wants his team to be successful, all those things. His emotions roll over.
And a meltdown might just mean he's disgruntled, but he still plays. And maybe
exactly right. So, I mean, I don't think we're going to see the first real meltdown. Okay, I'll say week 5 against the Bears, okay? Week 5, Bears. Bears defense might be a little too much for them to handle, and he's going to get stressed out and go crazy at least once then.
We got to remember that. Nick James, 72, kind of on the same light. Given the current Antonio Brown drama, can you guys do a power ranking for the top 5 wide receiver divas of all time?
Whoa.
What are they?
Whoa.
I've got mine.
Go ahead. I want to hear yours.
Okay.
Go ahead. I got mine. This is one you gave me a little pre-warning too, so we didn't waste 30 minutes on the podcast me looking it up.
Of you trying to think back of old diva wide
let me
receivers.
pull up the teams.
Number 5 for me is Randy Moss.
Okay.
So he would have been higher, but I think he fell in line with the Patriots.
Yeah.
And a true diva would not have done that.
I get you.
A true diva would have caused problems.
Sure.
No matter the situation, although he's still enough of a diva to be in the top 5.
Yes.
Number 4, Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco. I think he enjoyed that role and embraced it more towards the end of his career. Number 3 I have is Michael Irvin.
Ooh.
I was going to put him higher, but then I thought a true diva works his way off of a team. And he played his entire career with the Cowboys. And so you can't be a top 2 diva without forcing a trade.
I mean, there's a lot to talk to. Yes, and anybody you talk to about those Dallas Cowboys teams and Michael Irvin, they will tell you that, you know, to steal a phrase from Stephen Jones, he was the straw that stirred their drink. Sure. He really was. He was the kind of leader out in practice, the vocal leader, always went hard. I mean, yeah, you got to deal with some stuff off the field, obviously. I mean, the first time I ever saw Michael Irvin, just in a quick story, it's 1995. My dad's going to get his jersey retired on the first game of the year, Monday Night Football, New York Giants versus Dallas Cowboys. That happens. After the game, we're going to go across the street to the Sheraton Hotel because my dad's family's staying there, and we're going to go meet them. As I walk into the hotel, I mean, of course, the Cowboys have left town, but we walk in, and Michael Irvin was in the hotel on top of the bar dancing, leading Cowboy chants. So that's a little diva. I don't even know if that's divas, but that was my first awakening to what Michael Irvin was all about.
It's personality.
Yes.
Number 2, Keyshawn Johnson. You're familiar with him. You know, I think he's the original. I give respect to one of the most, first.
I witnessed it. I witnessed it. I was there in Tampa when John Gruden sent him home, which was a little bit of a setup, but I'll get into that in a minute.
It's one of those like Bobby Knight where it's more enjoyable to watch from afar.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Bobby, I enjoyed watching Bobby Knight's antics, but I think if I was around him, that would not have been as fun.
Right.
So it's probably the same with Keyshawn Johnson for you. And number 1, Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
I don't know if is he your number 1 too or no? Did you have another?
I have another one. He's in my top 2. I'll tell you that. He's in my top 2.
All right. How different is yours from mine?
It's not totally different. And I just want to preface this, okay? All right. the diva thing is not necessarily like always a bad thing. It's really not. It's not like they're divas where they're like, oh, don't touch me, my nails are gonna crack, or I just got a manicure yesterday, or it's not that kind of diva. You know, wide receiver divas and the great wide receivers, they're freak athletes, they're ultra competitive. I mean, ultra competitive. And that a lot of times leads to their diva-ness. And it's not because they're not afraid to go down and run block or get dirty every now and then, but they're just emotional and they wear it on their sleeve, and then that therefore can be thrown into the diva conversation. So I just want to preface that before I see any of these guys in public and they want to kick my ass, okay?
A diva is not necessarily a bad thing, right?
It's really not. I mean,
Aretha Franklin, people are a diva. You know, that's a good. It's their personality.
I mean, some of the receivers I played with, I mean, you know, Joey Galloway. He could have been.
Is he in your top 5?
No, but he had some diva qualities, even though he was a great teammate and a great guy. I mean, he was the man. He wanted the ball, but it was like not a big deal. I mean, a lot of receivers have diva qualities. I was with Brandon Marshall. He had some of that too, certainly. But it wasn't out of like a me thing all the time. Sure. It was like he wanted the ball because, man, I can help us out more than anybody. I'm the best guy on the team with the ball in my hands. Right. Somebody give me the ball. I mean,
y'all keep talking about winning. I know how you can win.
We can win. And I mean, I got a front row seat of Brandon Marshall winning games like by himself the year I played with him in Denver. I mean, to where I was like, I might start next week because our quarterback's playing bad. And then he threw like 4 jump balls to Brandon Marshall, and he beasted people and like ran over 7 people. And I was like, well, guess I'm not starting next week. The guy ended up throwing for 4 touchdowns. Yeah, I wanted to be like, anybody could have done that. All right, so here's mine. My top 5, I'm going to go with Steve Smith. Right off number 5, okay? Steve Smith, I mean, hey, beating some people up on the sidelines during practice, the way he acted at the end of his Carolina career, then going to Baltimore, then beating Carolina. If you remember, calling the Carolina radio station and basically going off on them and admitting, I've been a problem for years. Like, he'll admit it that he was a distraction. So I'm going to give him number 5. Also one of the, like, ultimate competitors. I have so much respect for Steve Smith. But as far as, like, those diva, temperamental receivers, he's in my top 5.
One of the top 5 scariest humans, like, if you crossed him. Like, I think he would be in the top 5 of all humans, football player or not.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it'd be like a wild pit bull in the loose. You're like, oh, gosh, he's loose. What do I do?
Never want to make him mad.
In my rookie year, he breaks the huddle in Carolina. And, of course, I'm with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They break the huddle. They're good, Carolina. We're having, like, our post-Super Bowl hangover. And he breaks the huddle. He's running towards our sideline. And as he's running over to the sideline, he starts to line up and gets in position. And he looks at Gru and he goes, hey, Gru, watch me your defense up. And then he got a 20-yard completion, got the ball, spun it on the ground, and looked at Gruden. And I was like, man, he is the man right there. So I loved him from that point on. Number 4, I'm going with Chad Ochocinco. Okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, you know, another guy that I enjoyed watching, but he was a handful. I mean, what he said in press conferences, the penalties he had to deal with because of his touchdown dances, certainly a lot of me antics, right? So, yeah, he'll be number 4 to me. Number 3, I'm going with Keyshawn Johnson.
Okay.
All right. Keyshawn is there. I got to experience Keyshawn.
Was it fun or not fun?
It was fun. I mean, he treated me great. I mean, he really did. But you knew he was the number 1 pick of the draft, and he was getting paid big money. He wanted to fly home to California after games and then come back like on a red eye to where he would get there for Wednesday morning practice, which is what ultimately led him to getting cut. And that's why I was going to say this. It was a little bit of a setup. He had an understanding with Gruden that, you know, I want to go home. I want to go to the West Coast after games. So Gruden let him do his thing. And then Wednesday morning, we'd see Keyshawn Johnson. He didn't have to go to like Monday workouts and Monday film session or do any of that. He didn't have to. And Gruden's okay with doing that with star players. But things were going bad. Like I said, the post-Super Bowl hangover. And Gruden told the team, like, everybody better be there Monday. You know, we got to get some things straightened up. And I think Keyshawn Johnson thought, I have an understanding that doesn't entail me. I've been told I can go home. Well, Keyshawn went home. And I guess Gruden he meant you this time. And that's really where it went off the hinges, and that's where he was released with pay and all that. So Keyshawn's my number 3. Number 2, I'm going T.O. And maybe I'm wrong here. I don't know. This is a tough one. 1 and 2 was tough. But T.O., I mean, come on, all the theatrics. I mean, whether it was Philly, San Francisco, looks like a rat, smells like a rat, must be a rat. You know, I mean, play Tim. Play Tim. Tim throws me the ball. I mean, he had so many things in Philadelphia, the sit-ups in the driveway, all of those things, the arguments between him and Donovan McNabb, or at least the tension there.
He cried for Tony Romo.
He cried, that's my quarterback.
And for a player, what is he, second all-time in yards received?
Yes.
To wait that long to get into the Hall of Fame
was insane.
It's just, know there's something else going on there. I mean, we all saw it.
Yeah, right. But I still don't think he should have had to wait at all to be there. He should have been a first ballot. He's, without question, one of the 3 greatest receivers to ever play the game in my mind. And then number 1, I'm going with the man of the times right now. I'm going to Antonio Brown.
Oh, you are putting him in there.
I'm putting him number 1.
See, some of this I wonder. So the first few years of his career, though, you didn't hear much of this stuff. You know, I think a lot of people thought Antonio Brown. I was talking to my own mother the other day, and she was like, "What happened over this last year?" And I was like, "Well, maybe there was stuff that we just didn't know in the first 5, 6, 7 years of his career." And you're saying that's the case?
Yes, it was kept under wraps. I mean, you've heard guys like Ryan Clark who. He is on record saying he was telling Steelers brass, don't pay that guy money because he's going to act a fool once he did. And really, once he got paid, he acted a fool. I mean, whether it was throwing Gatorade jugs on the sidelines, yelling at wide receiver coaches, throwing furniture off balconies in Florida, a few other off-the-field issues to go with it, what he did this year in Pittsburgh. I mean, that was the ultimate gangster move, what he'd pulled off this year. We've never seen anybody in the NFL ever do that. Basically just force himself out of one team when he's still on the hook for money and dead salary cap space and go to another team and get $30 million guaranteed. That was absolutely amazing, and only a real diva could do that. And really, I think it was all an orchestrated thing. I think he knew exactly what he's doing. The more people I talk to that are associated with the situation, I think there was a feeling in Pittsburgh around week 14 or 13 that it was about to go off the hinges.
Oh, wow.
And that he knew that Juju was going to get the next contract and his money, and he wanted one more payday, and this is how he's going to have to go about his business, and he forced his way out for better business, and I'm not mad at him for it, but he is my number 1 diva all
time. And people now are saying, okay, you can stop it. You can stop. You got your money. You can stop, Antonio.
Yes, right.
But maybe it's the train has left the station, and maybe it's hard to reel it back in at this point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a good top 5 list.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.